You never know, you never know, you never know, you never know. So here we are with us tonight, so many wonderful people. There's somebody here that I met tonight, wonderful soul. And again, when he walks up here, try to imagine this young boy. You know, he's connected, but does he have the spark yet? Did he get that spark? Tonight you see him here, and if you meet him wherever you know him, he has that spark. And I want to talk to him about where he got that spark from. You never know, you never know, you never know, you never know. But now I call him a friend. I'd like to ask Jonathan Malik to come join me up here. You never know, you never know, you never know, you never know. Good to talk, Jonathan. How are you? How you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Good, Baruch Hashem. Where'd you come from tonight?
The 5 towns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's why you weren't the first one.
You can say that again.
So, Jonathan, tell me, where did your journey begin with you and Oorah?
It started about 8 years ago when, actually it technically started 8.5 years ago when I had a family friend who went to the zone, and he told me all about it the following after the summer, and he said, you'll really enjoy it, you should check it out. So the next summer I went to the zone, and I had the best experience of my life, and
Wow.
I've been going ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. And do you just go to the zone, or have you done anything throughout the year?
In Israel, I went to Chill Zone, and also in America, I went to Chill Zone for a bit.
But you didn't just go to Chill Zone. Was there one near you, or you had to?
I actually traveled 40 minutes, half an hour to the nearest Chill Zone to go every Motzi Shabbos.
So in other words, you love Torah.
Yeah, it wasn't
You'll
always.
drive 30, 45 minutes as a kid throughout your high school years, all that, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So if you could just take me back to that first summer in camp, what was it? What was it that gave you the spark? What was that moment? What was it that you saw in Oorah that gave you that love for Torah, that made you want to connect to it and go every day, every week to Chill Zone throughout these years?
So just to backtrack, I was always, my family was Shomer Shabbos, but I never really appreciated learning till I went to the zone. I remember my first wow moment was when I walked into the shul and I saw 300 people just learning, being they were very honest, they were honest, very real about it. Just also I think as a joke I asked, I interrupted one of them to see if I can get them off guard to ask a stupid question, and they took the time to answer my question, and they were very respectful about it. So that was my one big moment.
You never know, you never know. 300 people sitting there learning. Were they all yeshiva kids? Were they all Kolo Jungelite?
Half of them were, and half of them were campers learning.
So you're saying each one has another story. There's 150 stories in that room at minimum.
Yeah.
150, you never knows. We all know one thing. We know what? We know that you never know, you never know, you never know, you never know. There could be a young boy, Jonathan, that he goes to the zone, and he walks to the Beis Medrash and sees 300 Yidden learning, but they're not just learning, they're learning with passion, and it opened up your soul and brought you back for 8 more consecutive summers and all year long to Chill Zone. And now he learns in the yeshiva right by the Kaisa. You never know, you never know, you never know, you never know. Thank you, Jonathan, so much. Thank you to Mr. Malik for reading that email and sending him to the zone. Thank you, Jonathan. Now, there's one thing here tonight that we haven't spoken about yet. We mentioned it, but we haven't really given the gratitude appropriate to our Creator on high. Master of worlds, earth and sky, Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hoidu la Hashem ki hitoi, ki le'olam chasdoi. Hoidu la Hashem ki hitoi, ki le'olam chasdoi. Sing along, Bichavra.
The following people have donated $200 or more to the Oorahthon in 2019. Mr. Aaron Tzvi Markowitz, $235. Rabbi and Mrs. Akiva Goldberger. Rabbi and Mr. Yosef Knopf. Hey, Yosef Knopf. Mr. and Mrs. Simon Goldstein. Hey. Mr. and Mrs. Nachum Redder. Mr. Tzvi Yifat. Mr. Yehuda Ellis. Miss Chaya Suri Klein. Miss Rivka Chams. Mr. and Mrs. Michael Goldstein. Rabbi and Mrs. Dovin Lowenthal. Miss Malki Mintz. The following people have donated $100 or more to the Oorahthon 2019. Yisrael Lefkowitz, Miss Abigail Bridowitz, Mr. Yoli Becker, Miss Frati Fasten, Shlomo Lunger, Rabbi and Mrs. Shimon Adams, Mr. Moshe Eckstein, Rabbi and Mrs. Yustman, Yisrael Dernfeld, Mr. and Mrs. Yoel Parnas, Andrew Kramer, Mr. Samuel Berman, Mr. and Mrs. Akiva Schechter, Mr. Pinchas Muller, Heidi Berger, Devorah Summer, Mr. Shmuel Zeitman, Bernard Link, Mr. and Mrs. Yossi Mizrahi, Yoel Klein, Mr. Mendel Weiss, Mr. Usher Schwartz, Rav Cheskel Lefkowitz, Rabbi and Mrs. Yehuda Weintraub, Yossi Ozeri, Mr. Harsh Rubenfeld, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Post, Rabbi and Mrs. Yaakov Levitin, Rabbi Shmuel Shavis, Mr. Mayor Nordlicht, Mr. and Mrs. David Dax, Naftali Shapiro, Brindle Silverstone, Mayor Lowinger, Israel Chait, Mr. and Mrs. Avraham Abixer, Mr. David Weiss, Rabbi Jordan Kaplan, Rabbi and Mrs. Aaron Roskin, Simon Heimowitz, Rabbi and Mrs. Moshe Sokoloff, Mr. and Mrs. David Hyman, Mr. Chaim Deutsch, Chaya Carr, Sharon Fox, and Yehuda Waxman all donated $100 or more to the Oorahthon. Did you donate yet? You can donate right now by calling 1-877-7-AUCTION or online at oorahauction.org. The phone is closing soon, so hurry up and call 1-877-7-AUCTION, 1-877-7-AUCTION.
Thank you, Hashem. Spasiba, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Merci, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Apamoides Hashem. Oy kini olam, kini olam chasdoi. This next song is a song that is from Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. The words of Bruch Shemei, Be'an Oorahthon. The words Be'an Oorahthon, not everybody knows what they mean. Be'an Oorahthon, it means in Hashem I have trust, I have faith in Hashem. It's a beautiful tefillah because this is the tefillah that we say when we open up the Aron Kodesh for laning. When we open up the Aron Kodesh is the time we see that Torah. When we see that Torah, it's a time for us to remember our love for the Torah and connect to our Torah mates wherever we are. This song is going to be released soon in the next few months. So look out for it. And this is the first time it's being played. Enjoy it live. Vayihi mitzvah Aaron vayomim Moshe Kum Hashem v'yafutzu oyevecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzeh Torah u'mevar Hashem Yerushalayim Baruch shenatan Torah li'amo Yisrael v'kedushato Vayihi mitzvah Aaron vayomim Moshe Kum Hashem v'yafutzu oyevecha v'yanusu ושנאך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם ירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו בריך שמדם הרי עמה בכיתך ויתרך יעידו תחממך ישראל לעלם ופוגעני מנערך הזה לימך בבימה תשך בריך שמדם הרי עמה בכיתך ויתרך יעידו תחממך ישראל לעלם ופוגעני מנערך הזה לימך בבימה תשך נשמי קדיש יקיר יקיר ותשלים משלים בליבני וליבה לכל עמך ישראל ותעמו לחיים ולשלם ותעמו לחיים ולשלם אמן ברך שבין מרים בכיתך ויתרך יעידו תחממך ישראל לעלם ופוגעני מנערך הזה לימך בבימה תשך ברך שבין מרים בכיתך ויתרך יעידו תחממך ישראל לעלם ופוגעני מנערך הזה לימך בבימה תשך קדיש יקיר קדיש יקיר ותשלים משלים דליבני וליבה דכל עמך ישראל לטוב ולחיים ולשלם לטוב ולחיים ולשלם אמן In him Hashem I do have faith In him Hashem I do have faith And to his holy precious name I'll say my praise In him Hashem I do have faith In him Hashem I do have faith And to his holy precious name I'll say my praise קדיש יקיר קדיש יקיר In him Hashem I do have faith In him Hashem I do have faith And to his holy precious name I'll say my praise This next song, back to the Kumzitz vibe, is a very beautiful, beautiful song. We sing it all the time, but do we think about the words? Asking Hashem to hear us, to hear our call, to mamish listen. Hashem ekra ואל השם אסחנון אליך השם אקרא ואל השם אסחנון שמע השם
The following people have donated more than $100 and sometimes even more than that to the Oorah auction. You can donate too by calling 1-877-7-AUCTION or online at oorahauction.org. Mr. Eliezer Stefanski, Mr. Joseph Rosenblatt, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Plummer, Shira Paneth, Rivka Steinfeld, Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Isaac, Rabbi and Mrs. Tzvi Rosen, Mr. and Mrs. Avrami Tabachik, Mr. Alan Ehrenthal, Mr. and Mrs. Yitzi Deitch, Mr. and Mrs. Abraham Singer, Mrs. Silke Weiss, Mike Silber, Miss Malky Deutsch, Zach Freud, Mr. and Mrs. Zalman Weinstock, Mr. Elliot Salb, Heshi Martin, Rabbi and Mrs. Mordechai Bosch, Yochanan Greenwald, Miri, Mr. and Mrs. Aryeh Weinrib, Miss Julia Barzai, Mr. and Mrs. Mordechai Boniloff, Rabbi and Mrs. Gershon Spiegel, Mr. Jack Wolf, Mrs. Menucha Lieb, Yosef Reynolds, Rabbi and Mrs. Shimon Bertram, Shlomo Benayon, Nehemiah Kaplinsky, Ricky Blackman, Rabbi and Mrs. Yehuda Schuster, Miss Sheila Schwibel, Mrs. Nechama Schuster, Dr. and Mrs. Jeffrey Teitelbaum, Miss Friday Ritterman, Mr. Sammy Prepose, Rabbi and Rebbitzin Eliyahu Mintz, Mr. Jacob Hammerman, Yitzchak Lalouche, Philip Koenig, Mrs. Amanda Abu. You can donate now also by calling 1-877-7-AUCTION or online at oorahauction.org.
You gotta smile at me, you know? You ready? Hello, Hashem Ekra, V'yel Hashem Eschana, Shema Hashem, V'chaneni, Hashem Eyeh, Oy Zevi. Never know. We're about to go back, but before we go back, Shabbos in the zone, Shabbos in the zone, Shabbos in the zone, so exciting. Shabbos in the zone, Shabbos in the zone, Shabbos in the zone, so exciting. Shabbos in the zone, Shabbos in the zone, so exciting. Shabbos, 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 it's so exciting.